Ian. David.
David, come on in. Glad to have you
We
here.
can come aboard.
Yes, sir.
What's your title now?
It would be Water Systems Superintendent.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And you, if I remember right, reading about you, you do something with the state or continuing education for other water treatment facility managers?
Yeah, so I was past president for New Hampshire Water Works Association and currently still work with them in various capacities as an instructor for the licensing and certification. So I work with DES, the Operator Certification Program.
DES being?
New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services.
Okay.
I do training, some sort of ad hoc seminars. Also have presented for New England Water Works, various capacities. Deeply involved in the legislative, workforce enhancement, and of course the training programs for New Hampshire Water Works.
I'm glad I didn't try to memorize all of that. So I'm looking out the window here, and I see a body of water that I'm making the assumption is the reservoir or one of the reservoirs. What is this body of water that we look out the window?
That is the Rochester Reservoir.
Okay.
It is one of the many ponds that we utilize for our raw water storage. It's the second largest of our ponds. The other one is Round Pond in Barrington. We also have about 6,500 acres that cover from Barrington, Rochester, Stratford, all the way up through Farmington.
What is a watershed, and where is the watershed that applies to this reservoir and to the Rochester supply?
Well, for us, a surface watershed, it would be the entire acreage that would catch the rainfall into the supply. Ours is about 6,500 acres and has a series of ponds, dams, canals, and control structures that allow us to store and blend the raw water supply, the watershed, the catchment area, until it transfers to either Barrington or back here to the Rochester Reservoir for treatment. Well, in the industry, treatment begins in the watershed. The cleaner the supply, the easier the treatment, and the less potential for contamination. That's what we share, as public water purveyors. Specifically, for us in our watershed, it's important to understand that even though we have a relatively protected and rural area, anything that you would do in your driveway or flush down your toilet will or has the potential to ultimately migrate to the surface water supplies. That's how it exfiltrates the ground. There's a lot of skill and a lot of magic that happens to get that water safe to drink for our customers and residents. Just because the water is clear and cold does not mean it is safe to drink. Pathogens, parasites, it doesn't matter how free-flowing, how crystal clear and cool it is, there is plenty to worry about from that perspective.
Can we go take a tour of the plant and see what happens through the process from coming in from the reservoir and then heading out to the tap?
Absolutely, it'd be my pleasure. Let's go.
So it looks like this pipe is
one of the three
in the
pit.
Pipes, and then this is the outflow pipe up to the full treatment.
And that's where we dose our primary coagulant, which is aluminum sulfate. We give another dose. I pointed out that we have 3 clarification trains. They consist of flocculation and sedimentation. Our typical ranges are 6 to 8 hours. Obviously, on higher flow, it's a little quicker, slower flow, a little longer. So walking through or continuing through the process, we have the additional control panels, chemical feed pumps, additional storage tanks, protection for the chemistries between the two. You can see the delivery and transfer components that are up here. We used to have eels before the newer screen was on the intake. The eels would make their way into the impellers of the big motors.
So this water has gone through everything we've looked at so far.
Correct.
And it's now dumped into here.
Correct. So that clarified water that has gone through coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, enters a collection trough and gets distributed into the top of the primary filter. Yep. So
And then it's going back into the plant?
then it's going back in the plant, weaving through the clear well for final pH and alkalinity adjustment, and then out to the city. And again, all of this is being monitored by a host of instrumentation and basically the best operators this side of the Pacific.
Man.
There's a lot of magic and science that happen in here.
So this is where you do the initial sampling of the chemistry and the biological load of the reservoir. You will go out and actually bring in hand-collected samples, and it looks like this is your bench testing area.
Yes.
What are some of the things you'd be testing for with the sample you bring in from the reservoir?
So yeah, the raw water sampling criteria typically involves pH, dissolved oxygen, true and apparent color, turbidity, TOC or natural organic matter analyses. We'll also look at specific conductivity and biological assay primarily for cyanobacteria. We have a fluorometer.
You do your sampling here, and how do you translate what is in the water that you do and don't want into, it looks like this whole bank of controls and injectors over here. How does the bench talk to what happens in the treatment plant?
That's a loaded question,
Yeah, well,
David. So I'll try to distill it down. So the analyses that we're performing on the bench for raw water quality work in tandem with the instrumentation that is always sampling. So
It's always sampling the water coming in from the reservoir?
in from the reservoir, throughout the process, all
Okay.
the way to the finished water that's entering the distribution system.
This is a daily process?
That is daily.
daily
Yes, we have to do that every day, sometimes more than once a day.
And that's a state requirement, federal requirement, or?
Oh yeah, well we're so since we're a surface water treatment facility, we have to do a number of those analyses daily, or whenever the plant's in operation.
Yep.
For us, that means daily because we never shut down.
So,
And I like to say it this way: the system that runs the controls, it does the calculating, but we still have to do the thinking.
yeah.
So we evaluate the quality of the water coming in and use that as a metric or baseline to input into the computer system the changes that are necessary to maintain quality through the process.
Am I mistaken that some of the best rated water in the country is New York City water, and that you guys are also way up here?
We're a pretty good system,
Yeah.
and proud of it. We've been recognized multiple times by the journal, the New England Water Works Journal. All of our testing results, our consumer confidence reports are available online, so people can see exactly what we're doing, how we do it, and have a metric for our performance. We want to share how good the water is, both from a like a statutory standpoint, but also we're trying to deliver that which is palatable. Yeah.
Can the consumer go online and get like results of what onboard minerals and everything are in the water?
Absolutely,
Oh, really?
yes. On the city's website, there is a section dedicated to our annual water quality reports.
Yep.
They're all there. Additional detailed information, if a customer or anyone wants to know a precise compliance result, can go to DES's website. There's a section on there called One Stop that allows you to look up any public water supply, and you can. It's fully transparent, and the results that we're performing in house are available for taking a look at. If anyone wants to give us a call, we're available to share that. And our instrumentation is taking records pretty much every moment. So there's a lot of checks and balances and recordation of our performance.
Nice.